Hi, David Odell here. We're on a new job site. This is our first day on the job. And let's take a look at what we want to accomplish on this one. We're not doing anything through that side yard right there. That could be a potential phase 2 later on. But right now we got major flood issues in this backyard. The way it works right now as far as drainage goes is everything drains to the backyard. When it does rain hard, that pool comes to the top and up and over the patio, so it becomes one big, kind of like a beach entry to the pool almost, because it's an entire swimming pool area. And the reason that is because the side yard's high, none of the drains work. So we're going to try to put some new drains in. We're going to remove these bushes. We're going to run a drain through there. We're going to core through that retaining wall, pop it up in here, run drains around the back, slope all the concrete to the new drains. And then as far as this deck drain goes, the idea behind that channel drain right there was initially intended to stop the water from draining into the pool. It's supposed to fall into that deck drain and then run out over to here, but it's all clogged up. The trees and bushes are a lot bigger than when this initially was put together, so it has to be completely reworked. We're going to try to do this the least expensive way, but it might get into a little bit more than anticipated once we do a little research on the existing drains that are underground here. We may have to go all the way to the street with it, but let's get back to business. So we got that tree out. It came out pretty easy. That particular type of bush was very soft. So we cut through it relatively easy with just an axe or pickaxe. What we want to do with the new concrete, extending this pool deck out a little bit, is get as close as we can to those footings of the vinyl fence without doing too much, without disturbing them too much. We could take off a little bit to squeeze it in, but we don't want to take it all off. So I've got the jackhammer. I'm going to break out as much as I think I can without weakening the post. Now that raised wall there, that little seat wall with nothing behind it, we're going to bring up the concrete to the top of that brick. But the thing about that is, on the back side where the form's going to go, in between the vinyl, it's going to actually set probably a 2x12 right up against that vinyl, and maybe a little 1/2 inch in between the vinyl and 2x12, so I can slide it out easy enough later. The first thing I did with these bushes is I used the reciprocating saw just to make it more manageable, so I could get underneath and chop all the roots out. Now there's some existing low voltage wiring in here, and apparently it still worked, which is rare in these situations. So we actually salvaged that wire and just coiled it up, threw it up on top of the fence, and before we start forming, we'll just lay it back down, because there will be some circular planters at the back of this property line vinyl fence. And I believe we're going to do one in each corner and then 2 centered on the pool. And they're going to be about 6 foot diameter, so we're going to pull a 3 foot radius off of the fence, which gives us about 1 foot between back of brick and planter beds. Now between that brick and the new concrete extension, what we're going to do is I'm going to lay some 1/4 inch foam, and that foam has a perforated 1/2 inch top on it that we can tear away later and then I can go ahead and I can put some, I'm going to use Deco Seal, which is a self-leveling caulking. And we're going to be using gray. They come in a couple colors. I think they come in white, tan, and gray. They may even have a black. Also, see those little waterfalls coming off of the back of the pool? Well, there's a water line that feeds those, so we knew that there'd be a water line there, and we found them. We were looking for them as we dug, so that way we didn't break them. The sprinkler system that was up here, we went ahead and capped it at the lower end of the pool. So anything underground 3/4 inch wise is going to be abandoned at this point. Although those waterfall features, those are running about 1.5 inches. Hi, David Odell here. I just wanted to follow up on my previous video that we posted, and what we did in the last video is we ran this little unit on a job site, and we ran into some issues with it. So I'm gonna want to confirm whether it was the power lines on that other job site or wasn't it. So I found these power lines right here. You could take a look at them. They look pretty stout and pretty thick. So I'm gonna turn this baby on now and see if we get the same outcome as we did on the last location. Going on. I'm not picking up anything. Let's walk under this power line all the way to the next pole. Let's check this out real quick. I want to kind of verify about wires and whether they interfere with a laser receiver. We got high voltage all over the place here, just like the job site location, and I'm not picking up anything, so I think I've determined that the wires weren't the issue with this unit on that location. Over and out. About that laser level receiver, what I was referring to is another video that we had some glitches with it, and we were working right next to a cemetery at that time, and we did a little patrolling out in the cemetery. But I'm going to put a little link at the top of this video that you can click on if you didn't catch that video, and you can kind of get an idea what I was talking about by testing that receiver at that location. So right now we're digging out underneath this block wall so we can get our drainage pipe into the upper landing. I'm going to run this 3-inch drain all the way around the pool upper portion, and then I'm going to do some pop-ups and some atrium drains in the new planter locations, as well as I'm going to do some drain grates in the concrete itself. All right, this is day 2. We've been here about 2 hours this morning. We've got these 2 stumps removed. We've dug under the wall to get the drain into that upper raised planter area, and we will continue that all the way around that upper area with a bunch of area drains, planter area drains, and also maybe some concrete in the actual concrete. But I just broke out the laser level, and I wanted to see if we can recreate that magic on the last second to last video that we uploaded. Okay, we have the laser level on right now. What I gotta check, we found the existing drain pipe right here. So I wanna make sure that that pipe is lower than the bottom of the footing of that wall. If it's level, I'd be happy with that too, because I can push the water down. So first of all, we're going to set this at the correct level. Oh, I got to turn it on. elevation is the rotating laser level over there. So now that these two things are set at the same level, we can set it on top of this pipe and see what's going on. Okay. So what we have here, see I'm about 1.5 inches above the top of that pipe. That means this is 1.5 inches lower than that. Or another way you can do it is you can see here that we're at 3 feet 4.5 inches to the top of this. That's that pipe, the existing. Now I can slide this up. Remember, we're at 3, 4.5. Now we'll start coming up. And now we're at 3, 5.5. This is 1 inch lower than that end. So we can't really tie into that. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just, I'm gonna run my pipe down to where it has to be and beyond the concrete. And then that'll have to all be remedied later. But we got to get the stuff under the concrete right, you know, before we put concrete. So what happens after that can be done at any time. All right, so we know what's going on. So let's just get down and do it. Alright, so what I ended up doing actually is I increased my pipe to a 4-inch on that far end, and that was I was able to pick up a little bit of that 3-inch, but so water's going to stand in that 4-inch until that 3 inches drop down. Now here's a couple little areas here in the existing patio that were probably planter beds at one time, possibly. And we're just going to fill those in with concrete. Okay, right at that point where the existing pipe is, there's a T there that goes over to that downspout for the rain gutters. And then it heads out to the front yard from there. The T is about a foot beyond where my new concrete's going to stop. So I'm just going to try to get to that point, and then later on down the road you can remove the rest of that pipe and take it out to the street. Because it dead-ended, he found out it dead-ended about 3/4 of the way down that side yard, and it didn't even have a pop-up on it or riser. It just dead-ended into the dirt, and so all the dirt backflowed on it. The whole pipe's filled with dirt at this point. So right at the end of that channel drain, because the way those channel drains work, the existing pool deck, everything slopes to that. So it's still going to slope to that. And what I'm going to do is set my area drain just maybe a 1/2 inch below the top of that channel drain. So as the water flows in this direction, it can drop into this pipe. You can see here it's a 4-inch pipe for 10 feet, and then we reduce down to the 3-inch. And that 4-inch is how I made up for that inch difference, although technically it's a 1/2 inch difference. No, that'd be a full inch. Yeah, I got a full inch because I set the top of my 4-inch on the top of that 3-inch, so I'm 1 inch below with my 4-inch. So yeah, basically level. All right, here we are on day 3, and this is what we've accomplished so far. We started out here with a 4-inch. Then we go to a 3-inch right here. Now we're at a 3-inch under the wall. We're gonna cut this down. We'll throw a T on that, so we'll have a drain here, which will mostly give access for a clean out. And then we're gonna we got a trench all the way around here. We're gonna continue the drain line We're gonna do some circular half circles, planters, maybe 3 of them, plus around these trees. And in each planter, we'll extend the drain into those planter drains, and then we'll slope the concrete to the planters. So that's what we're gonna try to get done today. Set it up, put the drains in, and see what we get done. All right, thanks for watching. So as I was saying, in the back of that brick along the pool, we had to do a little saw cutting there because part of the mortar bed that they set these brick with was sticking out, and I need a nice straight surface to run my deco seal on and to attach my foam. So we cut a little bit of that off, about 4 feet worth. And the rest of the back of brick was pretty clean besides that one spot. Now as we bring this 3-inch drain around here, we're just going to check it with a level to make sure that we have a little slope going out. Now each one of these drains, every other two of them will be in the 3-foot diameter planter, or actually 6-foot diameter planter, 3-foot radius off of the property line fence. And then the other 2 will be in the concrete itself. So the layout on all these drains where they come up were kind of crucial at this point. Otherwise they wouldn't have been centered on anything if we didn't get the right layout to begin with. And you'll see as we get down to the form work itself that all the drains were centered in the planters and centered in the concrete sections in between the planters. There's that low voltage cable I was talking about. We dropped that down. Although the concrete's not going all the way against the vinyl fence, so it wouldn't have mattered if I dropped it down or not. You could always run it behind all the concrete because we're going to be about 4 inches away from those posts all the way down the property line. Here's some of that plastic, elite plastic form. And this stuff's designed to do about an 18-inch radius, really tight. I got some 1.5-inch wide stuff that'll do about a 3-foot. This stuff gets down to an 18. They came in 12-foot lengths, but I had to cut them down to fit. So these pieces, if I ever do half of a 6-foot diameter, will be perfect. Now we couldn't drive nails from the back of these stakes like I typically would, so I just used some screws from the inside face of the 2x4s into the stake. And the way we stripped those is stakes and 2x4 all at once. Here's a drain right here, and I've got the 6-foot Milwaukee Red Stick on it, and you've got a lot of slope on that brick, as you can see by the gap there underneath the level, but we're not going to maintain that slope because it would have been more of a trip hazard than anything. So we're going to reduce it down to probably about 1% or less. Now on this styrofoam, since it has that perforated top that I do want to pull out and put the deco seal in, we're going to only spray the glue at the bottom of the brick, no glue at the top, because otherwise that foam's going to stick to the top and it's going to be harder to get out. Now we're going to do 3/8 rebar dowels wherever our concrete meets the existing concrete. That way, the likelihood of it ever shifting, you know, we've covered it so that it won't become a trip hazard in the near future. Now, back of this raised seat wall here, you can really see the slope on that brick right there, but we won't maintain that type of slope on the back. But it does make a nice little bench seat now. And you don't have the maintenance issues once the concrete goes in here. And what we had to do to make sure that this concrete doesn't slip away from the back of brick, we had to go full depth all the way down to the posts of the fence itself. So the new concrete is actually setting on top of the post, concrete post. Here's your 3/8 rebar. We're just going to run 2 pieces long ways, because the likelihood of the concrete cracking the long way is remote, because concrete always cracks the shortest distance. So you really don't even need crossbars on something like this, although we just put them just to kind of hold everything in place. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Remember, this is a part 1 of a 2-part series. Have a good one.